Town Hall Heroes. Hello everyone and welcome here to TownHall Heroes episode number 151. Totally didn't change that on the overlay because I moved it to the corner, but that's okay. I'll fix it eventually someday, maybe. Tonight, we've got special guest Michael Udall with us. Dunk Train is out with some family matters, and we've got Bakery and Zoya as well. Talking about the GFE and pretty much the status of the team and their rise in phase number 2, HGC as a whole, the state of Hero League, and viewer questions. Michael Udall, how you been, buddy?
I've been pretty good, man. Pretty good. Life's going well.
I mean, more than life, right? The HGC life, the baldness life, like a lot of life.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm going through the awkward phase. That's why I'm just like always wearing hats. I miss my hair so much. Like being bald wasn't that bad because it was like I had a funny story, but now it's like it's just short.
I just feel like you know you belong in the military.
Yeah, exactly.
My honest opinion is I like you more now than before. I think I mean, you look good with the long hair, but you look like younger, like more like a kid with the longer hair. And now you look like, I don't know.
You say he looks like one of the members of Hanson with the long hair?
You look handsome as hell both ways, but I don't have an issue with the short hair. I think you look good.
Thank you.
Got you, dog.
The young
Baker. Don't we have a little something for Zoya? Or am I insane? Or is that am I jumping the gun?
A little something for Zoya. What happened?
Isn't it his birthday? Am I insane?
Oh, happy birthday, Zoya!
Happy birthday, Zoya!
Happy birthday, Zoya! Woo! Thanks.
Long awaited. It's Zoya's actual true birthday today. We'd like to wish him happy birthday every other day of the year, but today is the real birthday of Zoya. So please send him the happy birthdays. And tomorrow's Kubi's birthday. So make sure you give Kubi a happy birthday wish tomorrow.
Tomorrow's actually my real birthday, but thank you.
No, Zoya's not. Come on. Skype won't lie.
No,
Bakery, what's new, man?
So, funny story before we get into that. Skype actually lied about all 3 of our birthdays. Yeah, so Michael Udall wished me a happy birthday one day early. I then wished him happy birthday one day early. And then we just did Zoya, so we're just continuing on the.
I don't get birthday messages on Skype anymore.
I
don't know why.
Well.
I didn't know if that was something. I guess I disabled it, but I never get told when it's someone's birthday anymore. I haven't had that happen for a long time. I guess maybe I disabled it. I don't know.
Oh well. Anyway, yeah, things have been going okay in the bakery life. Unfortunately, the HGC didn't go so well, but luckily we actually still have a chance to make it to the Western Clash. It's all going to come down to this weekend. It's some really insane games coming up with us versus Tricked and also Expert versus Liquid. So the 2 winners potentially will be the ones going to the Western Class, which is really exciting. Meanwhile, at home, I have no running water right now. So last night there was a huge storm and it took out the water pipes in my area. So if you think maybe I look a bit weird today, maybe there's a bit of growth going on here, it's not my fault. I have no running water, all right?
We call that Johns in the Smash community. Basically just Johns, man. Johns. Zoya, my boya, how you been? What's new?
Not much. I don't normally sleep a lot because I play video games too much outside of work. And like once every week, 8 or 9 days, I just kind of crash on a day off and sleep all day. So that's what I did.
The recharge day, yeah.
Day. So that was today. I slept all day till 4:30 p.m.
Ooh.
Made some hot dogs and baked beans, ate that, and then here we are. So that was my day. I had a good day, and I don't know, not much has changed since last week's episode. So I don't know, I'm excited for some heroes. We finally got a good guest on from North America.
Nice.
I'm hyped about that. Some NA pride.
Dude, Bakery's got his whole water struggle, and I got a haircut today from this old Polish lady, and she did a terrible job. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, I don't even know what to do with my hair. I might just full Udall at this point because no bueno. When wife sees me when she gets home, she's just gonna be like, what did you do? Because she always tells me to go to like someone I know rather than a random, barber or whatever. But man, I'm cheap. I just want to spend the least amount of dollars. And this whole Polish lady looked legit. She wasn't legit. She failed me. She failed me good. Beyond that, there's a Bloodlust has been actually just about completed the qualification process. Last night we had a best of 5 series between Even and Death and Superstars, and Superstars did end up prevailing in the best of 5. Saw some really interesting drafts. A lot of Tyrande from Even and Death. They were trying to play blow up comps, and in some of the fights it worked out. In some of the fights it really didn't. So tonight we have our final qualifier. It's actually gonna be just about an hour after the show ends, so 9 p.m. Eastern it starts, and that's Naventic versus No Tomorrow. And although Naventic haven't been doing super well, even in phase 2, they are technically the reigning champs of Bloodlust. So I'm excited to see if they can, for whatever reason, make it work for them, because the mentality in a one-off event like this, where it's not a league, can sometimes be very different for some teams. So they're willing to take bigger risks sometimes, and especially in like a qualification match, because what do they have to lose, right? I mean, Bloodlust is a $4,000 prize pool with an 80-20 split for that first place, but the stakes are far lower than I feel like trying to make your way into something like Western Clash or BlizzCon. So that way we get to get fun games. But let's transition directly into that GFE update. And Michael Udall, you guys made some bold calls, after phase number 1. Bring us to the mentality of the team at the end of phase 1.
I mean, I'd say it probably goes, you asked me end of phase 1. I'll say I go back to like when we picked up Fan. Like when we first picked up Fan, like our goal as a team and like our main focus is that we want to do well at BlizzCon and we want to win BlizzCon, right? Like lofty, very lofty goal. Some might say, so like that's been our goal, and like we're just doing everything to essentially achieve that. So like the players, we kind of got together and did what we thought was best, picking up CAF and K1, and it's worked out like really well so far. But I mean, like once again, like our goal is not just to like go to Western Clash, like it's to do really well on an international stage. So I mean, I've been loving playing with CAF and K1. They're 2 players like I've always wanted to play with, just because when I first got into the scene, they were on the top. And then it was kind of interesting because when I actually kind of like broke into like the upper tier, it was actually beating Cloud9. It's like been interesting watching their kind of journey, and I have a lot of respect for them as players. Like they're very good in not just like mechanical play, but like atmosphere wise has been probably my favorite part of playing with them. It's just like what they bring to scrims like every single day, like the mentality they bring, like watching VODs, just like the immense game knowledge that they have. So it's been awesome, man. GFE's been going really good. I mean, I want it to go better. Like I really want to do really well this weekend. I want Tempo Storm to win, you know what I'm saying, so that we get the first seed for Western Clash, and I want to go to BlizzCon.
The dream, man.
The dream. It's crazy.
My
My family already bought tickets.
Oh, ooh.
Oh,
They
wow.
know tickets. I'm like, that's kind of a leap of faith, guys. Like,
What if you disappoint?
don't worry, it happened last year,
Oh shit.
but it wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, so obviously, you got the you guys have gotten the results you wanted. So as far as we can tell, right? You guys are in a much better position in the league right now. Do you think you guys are playing where you expected at this point? Obviously, there's always room for improvement for any team, but like, what is your opinion of the power level of GFE with the new 2 players?
I mean, I think there are still a lot of like synergistic things that we're like shoring up. I think like late game shot calling kind of shows it, where I think because like shot calling is like interesting in the sense of like you can make the right call but just not articulate it right, and then it becomes like the wrong call, if that makes sense. Like if you don't communicate what you want accurately, and like that goes like on the players like receiving it and what you're saying is because like when you play with the team for a really long time, like you can say just one little word and they're like, oh, that means something completely different than like, all right, siege versus like slow siege. Like those are 2 completely different things that like on different teams mean different things. So it's like, I think our communication is probably the biggest thing that we need to improve on, and just getting those words together that like everyone understands means one thing. So I mean, like we've had a lot of throws that like we're really not happy with. I honestly like I didn't think we'd be 5-1. Like I thought near the end of the season we'd be like really doing a lot better and beating all the teams. But like our schedule was very like front loaded. Like we played all the hard teams at the start. So I mean, I'm really happy that we won the majority of those games. Because I thought it would be close and really tough if we did. I mean, pretty much all of our games went to like game 5. So I mean, one of my favorite things about this team is just that we just find a way to win, if that makes sense. Like, just like you will yourself to win. I don't know, someone steps up and has a big play. Like I think it was versus the tempo set where we were down. We literally reverse sweep them, and it's like in every single one of those games, like I had a really good game, like Genji at like the end of Towers of Doom. And then like K1 had an insane Lunara on BOE, and then Fan played really well on Tracer in like game 5, and that's something I really enjoy. Like having, you know, a different player will step up just like depending on the occasion, and it's like we all just like find that will to win. So it's pretty sick.
Zoya, Baker, you guys got questions for me? Because I can keep going.
Okay. I've got a good one. So against Roll20, was that first week for you guys?
Yeah, we played Roll20 first week.
Okay, so against Roll20, when I watched the series, it felt to me like Roll20 was the stronger team, but like every time it looked like it was kind of going well for them or whatever, it just felt like you guys like stepped up and did like some insane play, or they did some insane throw, and then you ended up actually winning. Do you think that they were the stronger team, or do you think that you were the stronger team?
I mean, I think that's a fair question because we beat them 3-1, but it definitely didn't look like a 3-1. Like I think we had no right winning that Tomb of the Spider Queen game.
Yeah,
where they like no right, like that was them throwing 100%. And it was actually like a cool shot call. Like for those of you who don't remember, it was like so they pulled us up to boss, and they had Tahaka plus Greymane I think go on the core. And it's something where it's like they just weren't good enough at stalling our backs. And that like really brought us back into the game. We like got a boss, which I mean I think is a cool shot call. Like that's something like that is really cool. Like they just didn't execute it correctly. So I mean, to answer your question about stronger team, I think they probably were a little bit stronger then. I think now I wouldn't say so, just because I think like they've lost a bunch and team morale and things like that aren't going well. But I think they might have been a tiny bit better.
That's known as the Glaurung effect.
The Glaurung effect.
Oh,
He's not the only player like that.
But yeah, no. So I thought it was super cool because that my interpretation was Roll20 was stronger, but Gale Force won the series, and like either way, I think that was like a super good sign for you guys. That it was week 1, you play the best team in North America, and even though you don't quite surpass them, you win the series like 3-1, and the potential to make plays and what that meant moving forward was super important, I think. And actually, the next week, you guys play against Tempo Storm and legitimately outplayed them, I feel like. Yeah. It could have probably been like more than 3-2 in your favor.
Yeah, well,
so I think that was super cool to see.
Yeah. So thank you. I think it was cool too. Just like, and that's exactly my point where it's like we just find a will to win. Like even if the team like is perceived as better and like they're playing better the majority of the game, someone will make an insane play and then we're back in it.
So naturally beating. No. Okay, all right. So
the fuck. Well, because everyone else was talking. My question is more about like the HGC as a whole. You've already talked about your team, but what's been the biggest surprise for you this season, like on the second half of the year, from other teams? Like, what has caught you off guard that you weren't really expecting as a team?
I mean, I think like No Tomorrow's strength is something like I thought they'd be a much better team with Equinox, but I didn't expect them to come out and like beat Tempo Storm, take us to Game 5, like beat Freedom. Like I think a lot of that, like because it's pretty interesting. Because in January, remember, like I don't know if you remember this, but like leading into like the NAHGC, everyone's like, all right, No Tomorrow's gonna be that dark horse, that like 4th, 5th spot, and then they got 8th, right? So so it's like I give Equinox a lot of credit because I think his shot calling really has like carried a lot of their games. Like What was it? The Cursed Hollow game, like literally last weekend, they were like 18-20, and they just like backdoored the core. I was like, what the, like,
Yeah.
it's just like the balls, right? Like he just like makes these crazy calls, and like their team follow through. So I mean, I have a lot of respect for them. So that's probably been like my biggest surprise, because like I really thought Team Freedom was going to do well, like leading into this. They were doing really well near the end of the last season, and then they picked up Kira, who I think is an upgrade from Insom. So. I mean, Roll20 as well. I thought they would adjust faster. So I mean, I still think they're a really good team, and like a lot of their strengths they still have. It does just kind of feel like in a couple of sets it didn't like break their way, and now they're 3-3. So.
You're muted, Jake. You're muted, Jake.
Son, I was eating food.
Wait, who was it? Me?
He's muted. He used a different mic on stream.
Yeah, I have two mics. So what I was saying is it really feels like, it's difficult seeing a team like Roll20.
3 years we've been doing this show.
I just changed my sound setup, Zoya. Give me some slack. Anyways, seeing a team like Roll20 get sponsored and be number one of the scene and then fall is always really tough to see, but at the same time, you have to give credit to the teams that have surpassed them, because it's not just Roll20 slipping up a bit, it's the other teams rising that much further, making the adjustments. And Roll20, they made the one roster swap, and it doesn't seem to have been beneficial for them. Yoda's a very talented player. They made the call to go for Goku, and I respect that. But yeah, man, they're in that 5th place spot right now, and I don't think any of us anticipated that situation for the team.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy looking at like a scenario where we can go to Western Clash and Tempo Storm and Roll20 and No Flame, but maybe Dignitas aren't going to be there. 3 of like the last people at the international. I don't know. I think that's just like a very cool and interesting thing that like, because I feel like EU and NA like both like just like the level of play has like risen a lot, and I mean, and that's what I wanted with this league, right? You don't want like 3 teams just kind of stomping everyone. You want like 5, 6 where it's all like very, very competitive, which I feel like we're starting to have in NA and EU. I don't know, like
EU
all I hear from EU is
has had
insane.
it. Yeah, EU is just stacked. It's like Fnatic, and then there's Europe below Fnatic, and it's in NA doesn't seem like we have that defined number 1 yet. But I'm curious if that's going to happen. Will that be GFE by the end of the season? Who knows? But Team Freedom turning heads. No Tomorrow turning heads as well.
Yeah. My next question is, you guys are guaranteed, right? Going to the tournament, whatever it's called, mid-season, whatever, Clash, whatever.
Yeah.
Western Clash, yeah.
Western Clash, you're guaranteed going to it. How confident are you feeling going into that?
Are you guaranteed? Because I thought they put this thing Clash next to your name when you're guaranteed, and
I don't see how GFE can go, because
yeah,
they would have to like probably 0-3 every one of their sets.
You tie break over No Tomorrow
and Tempo. Oh, so like
and
our team's been discussing this, and I've been getting like different like, okay, you're guaranteed, you're not guaranteed, and I'm like, let's just win Superstars. Like, who gives a fuck? So I'm not supposed to say that. My bad.
You're good. No, you're good.
So since EID beat No Tomorrow, I think we're now guaranteed. Because so in the scenario where we would have lost, it would have been like No Tomorrow won out, and then Tempo Storm beat Freedom, and then it's like a 3-way tie between Tempo, us, and Freedom, and then it's like if Tempo had really good win-loss and Freedom had both really good win-loss, then we lose. But now it'd be like a 4-way tie, and we have the head-to-head to 2 teams, or like two of the 4 teams, because we beat in No Tomorrow and Tempo. So I think we're guaranteed, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, well, let's just say that you are going, right? Let's just go under that. How confident are you going into that event?
I mean, I think we're pretty confident. Everyone's had like a lot of international experience on our team. So I mean, we're pretty confident. I'm really excited. I really want to play the EU teams and just kind of, because I feel like when like the last time we went to Western Clash, like we didn't win a game, but a lot of our games were really close. Kind of like where Bakery was talking about, where it's like we were 3-1 to Roll20, but like Roll20 looked like the better team. So it's like I feel like we had a lot of those games where I don't know if we necessarily looked like the better team, but like we were 100% in it. a lot better than like a 3-0 would show. So it's like I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to take some series, like take some games. So I'm really excited to get there. I want to destroy Quacknix, Mr. Free Fanatic. Just kidding. Wait, no, it should be that said NA is free.
The call out. I like it. I think that's good.
I'm not sure it's wise, but I appreciate the effort.
No. Call out Fnatic, man. Do it.
Okay, so here's my question: is looking at the standings like for NAHCC right now, do you think they accurately represent, like in what your mind the tier list is? Like, do you think that Freedom and you are like tier 1, like No Tomorrow Tempo tier 2, and so on?
Honestly, I feel like it's just 5 teams. Like I really feel like all 5 of us are like very similar skill level and kind of like depending on the day. I do think Roll20 is better than the record shows. That'd probably be the big one. Like I would probably say Roll20 is a little bit better and No Tomorrow's a little bit worse in my opinion. And I'm interested to see how the season goes on because I feel like there are a couple teams in the NA for sure that have like very specific styles, and they run like very cookie cutter. Like they're just like they spam that comp. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like I think once teams, I think it started happening to Roll20, where like people started banning their Medivh. They have to like learn how to adapt because they don't always get that, like that pick. And I think that's going to start happening to other teams in NA. And I'm interested to see how they adapt after that happens.
So just kind of looking at match history, we've had some upsets recently. I'll pull it up here. Yeah, spoilers. I don't want to get it wrong. Was it Even in Death that beat Tempo Storm? Is that what it was?
No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense because No Tomorrow, I can see them having just an off day or whatever. But is that at all surprising to see a team like No Tomorrow, kind of quickly rise up and then lose to a team like Even in Death, who admittedly got a free spot, and while they still get games here and there, they are, they seem like they're a peg below at least the top 5.
All right, to be fair, real quick, Even in Death, well, No Tomorrow definitely shit the bed that series, but Even in Death, they did 2 things well in that set that they haven't been doing all season. A, they were all on the same page. They were moving as one. They were making plays as one for the first time ever. They've never, it was always like some clown in the corner doing something different than the other 4 clowns. But now they were clowning around as 5. And it worked out a lot better for them because they were doing dumb things as one. And it's better to do dumb things as one than to do dumb things as 5 individuals. 2, How Nguyen stepped up in that set. How Nguyen had some plays during that entire set. While I do think the reason No Tomorrow was primarily their drafts, Even in Death did show improvement in that set. So I want to get that out of the way first.
Yeah, I agree. I think they played really well that game. For them, they played really well that series.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a question, mainly for Mikey now, but also for you two as well. Why is Naventic still 06? And who's going to win the Naventic Even in Death showdown later this week?
Dude, I have no idea, but I'm so hyped for it.
Dude, I'm gonna say Even in Death. I'm gonna go out on a limb. All right, so it's like Naventic has always been like a very mentality-based team. If they lose, it's the end of the world. Even when they were at the top of the scene, everyone was like, all right, you get game 1, 3-0 Naventic, easy, right? Literally that's what players would say going into it. So I feel like Naventic's so weird. I feel like at the beginning of January, I feel like they were a pretty good team.
Yeah.
When we played them first round, it was pretty difficult. They were a pretty good team, and it's just I feel like it's just a snowball effect where they lose once, they lose a couple times, then it's all right, we don't care. Let's just go play PUBG. Let's go play other games. We'll just get on for scrims a little bit, and then, and I don't think every player on that team is like that. I feel like there are a couple players on the team that really work hard and really want to win. But it's kind of when you're in kind of an atmosphere and mentality like that, it's really hard to be super dedicated and focused. So I feel bad for some of the players, but it's also I don't know. So I think work ethic is probably the biggest thing, and then just atmosphere. It's really, they just don't really care as much. It's kind of like a paycheck.
Do you think that there is some responsibility on the organization to correct that mentality in a team? If GFE was in that boat, how would your management respond?
I mean, I don't think they would like let us get to that point, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there are a lot of that's not true. Like you never know what's gonna happen, but like there's a lot of steps that like lead up to that, right? So it's like you don't just become like every team has to learn how to lose. Like you're always like everyone's gonna lose eventually, and like learning how to lose and like not let it be the end of the world and everyone like not care anymore. Like
right.
That's definitely something where like an organization should like step in. Like Madness has done like great for us at Gale Force, where like after losses, like he just like like takes the temperature of like every player, like of like what's going on, like how are they doing, like and kind of just like is like an ear for like, hey, talk to me, like what's up, and then a lot of it's like moving forward, right? Because like learning how to move on from a loss is like a lot of what it's about, and like in a healthy manner, and like getting the team to sit down and talk together and just talk about just to discuss like what happened, like why did we lose. So I think that's like a big thing, and like I don't know if they do that. Like I'm not in Eventic, but it's
right. No.
So
it's part of
GFE is one of the few exceptions, though. GFE's always come off as a team that's been more proactive rather than reactive when it comes to problems within the team, and they've always been one of the first teams to pull the trigger on roster changes and stuff whenever they just feel that it's not going to work out long term. So I think GFE is one of the few exceptions when it comes to orgs that actually involve themselves with the rosters and the player mentality. Not many orgs do that at all in NA.
Yeah, I'd say Dignitas is in the same boat, basically. Like, whenever we have phases where things aren't going well, or we have phases where we're changing things and things are getting like exciting or interesting, they're always very hands-on. Like, how's this going? How's that going? What can we do? Like stuff like that. Just checking up on us, stuff like that. So, like for example, right now we're trying out a coach because. It's like, hey, things aren't going well. Let's try out a coach. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. And so, yeah, hopefully these are the tools that we need to get back on track. And I definitely feel like it depends on what the org wants out of their team, right? If you look at your team and you say, I want this team to be the best in the world, then there definitely is an obligation. You should be doing certain things to try and help them and force change if it isn't coming from the players. But if you look at your team as, hey, we pay them, they do stuff for us. Like, I don't really mind. Like, if they're the best team in the world, I don't mind if they're best in NA. But I do care that they're in the HGC. Then I think it's not bad to just say hands off. Like, they can do what they want.
What if I want a team of streamer girls?
That's possible. I mean, those orgs very much stand out in their minds. You have orgs like GFE, Tempo Storm, who aren't just focused on the performance of the teams, but also like on the longevity of their careers and giving them a future after the game, right? So they help them produce content. They promote streaming and stuff like that. And then you have teams that it's not necessarily the wrong approach, but they just have that roster to build up the team's brand, to get bigger sponsor pulls, to just have that extra name. Like, here's our heroes team. Here's our, like, they're two different types of teams. Neither is necessarily wrong or right. It's just, they're different kinds of orgs. I would definitely say that Eventic is closer to the wrong end of things, based off the things I've seen from them. But you don't have to necessarily be that involved as an organization for it to, like, go well. You can kind of have a more relaxed approach. You have to have the right players for that, though. Players that are mature, that will find the motivation, put in the work on their own and stuff. Which probably GFE's roster is the best roster in NA for that. Maybe Tempo Storms. I don't know some of their players very well, but both those rosters are in a situation where they are both mature and professional people, and then they also have an org that supports them on multiple levels. So that's why those teams will always see success compared to other teams that don't get that support and don't have players that are mature.
Yeah, well, I mean, North America as a whole, it looks like we have our 3 or 4 front runners. Tempo Storm, No Tomorrow, Gale Force, and Team Freedom seem like the likely teams to make it into the cup. Is there still a chance for Rule 20 mathematically?
Yes. I was reading a Reddit thread. They have to like 3-0 and then someone has to
get 0-3.
Get 0-3. DB Smiley, he's like a GFP guy. He always tweets out about it. Let me see.
I have one last question while you look that up. Oh, you can go first, Baker.
Wait, so no, I was just trying to work out how. So
okay.
yeah, Roll20 beat No Tomorrow.
Someone post something in
Wait, is that
or,
it?
oh, never mind, they can't all get banned. Too lazy to give them permissions.
Wait, so Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm lose.
Yeah, I think it was like a sudden death scenario or something. I think between.
Yeah, okay. I think there can be a three-way tie between No Tomorrow, Tempo, and Roll20 if things happen.
Wow.
How do I do permission again?
It's
Exclamation point permit name.
yeah, that.
Well, let's transition to Europe. Talk a little bit about the state of Europe.
Wait, I have one more question for you, Udall.
Okay, hit me with that. I'm ready.
You talked about how your atmosphere and the team was going well, and that you're really getting along with K1 Pro and CAF. I find that hard to believe because K1 Pro is the biggest piece of shit on the planet. Can you be a little bit more honest and tell us how you really feel about him?
Dude, I love K1 Pro. He's like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like leading into it, like I was really excited because like we kind of like explored options. We thought CAF and K1 were the best, and I was like, I'm really excited to play with CAF because like he's a really good tank, and I'm excited to have a dedicated tank player. And then like I kind of fell in love with K1, man. Yeah, he's a really unique individual. He reminds me a lot of just like Aka in the same way. It's like they both just like kind of do their own thing. They're both really good. They have these crazy like draft ideas. So like I've had a lot of fun where like we'll just like after scrims just like be chilling for like an hour or 2 hours just in customs, just playing random heroes, like practicing like trying Cho'Gall out or like Murky out or just like crazy random heroes. And that's one of the things I love about GFE is like our team is very open to trying lots of different drafts. So that's something that like we have a lot of fun just playing around, like trying different heroes, Gazlo, things like that. So
for those that don't know, K1 Pro is like one of my closest friends in the scene, so I was trolling with that question. I love that guy. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are getting along, and I'm glad that they were able to find the motivation and seep into the GFE style. Because when I was looking at that roster change, I was being their manager beforehand, there was motivation issues around the game because the team was struggling, and that can be expected at times. So I'm glad that they found their love for the game, and they've been taking it seriously. So I'm glad you've shared that with us.
On that same note, I'm also really happy this GFE roster is working out.
Yeah.
Because I've maintained for so long, I'm like people saying like, CAF K1 they're past it, like they're crap now, and I'm like, no, like they're really good, honestly. Like, and finally they found the roster and everything's working out really well. So I'm really happy for you, Mike.
Me too.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to say, K1 has a wonderful Corrin in Breakaway. He bodied me recently.
K1's really good at Breakaway. K1's a guy that if he puts enough time into any game on the planet, he would be a pro at it. He's got a ridiculous knack for games. It blows my mind. He's like already like he like casually plays Rocket League and he does the craziest shit, like flying shit. It's like I hate him. And I love him at the same time.
He's a natural, man. He's a natural. All right, permission to move to Europe. I mean, discussion-wise, not for real. I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, you're good. You're
good. Permission granted.
You're good. Yeah.
Actually, I'd probably move to England. I don't know if I'd move anywhere else in Europe, but I liked London a lot during my visit. Baker's like, why? Why would you say that?
I hate it.
Well, EU pulling it up here. Bam, bam, bam. Fnatic. The pack leader is already confirmed for the Clash, being 6-0. Very dominant so far this season. Expert in number 2. Tricked in, or tied for second. Liquid in 4. And Dig in that same spot that Roll20 is in, where there's still a chance. But it's hard. It's hard, Bakery. And that series versus Fnatic was hard. It's
more likely than you would think. So if we win and Expert win, then we just go. If we win and Expert lose, and depending on exactly what scores there were in those series, then we are in a very real possibility of a 4-way tie where all 4 teams are tied in terms of game record in 3 years. Which would mean a mini tournament with best of 5 tiebreakers, as far as I know.
Let's do that. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
So yeah, actually, I'd say there's still a very good chance that if we can beat Vict, especially with a 3-0, it's actually likely that we can go to the Clash.
Oh.
So yeah, real clown fiesta things happening. Not that that's a bad thing. It's very exciting in terms of these standings, but
we were talking.
For sure.
I think we talked about it last week, but if you guys did not make this event, this would be the first international event that Dignitas did not go to, which is insane. So I would like you to, as much as I love watching Dignitas lose, I would rather you keep that streak going. So
I mean,
good luck, man.
How ridiculous is it to think that you can go from being second place at a global and then so quickly be in a state of maybe not even making it to a regional? It's a testament to how strong EU is right now, I feel.
I'm looking for Bakery's any reaction to this.
It's an awkward position for me because I personally I know a lot of people are hyping this angle of EU as a whole has improved, but if you look at last phase, it wasn't really the same. It was us and Fnatic very, very closely tied at the top. Every single series that us and Fnatic have actually ever played in the history of competitive Heroes of the Storm has been a full game series, either 3 games or 5 games, or in the case of the final, 7 games, except the one we just played last week. But we can all forget that one, I think. And it was really, really close at the top between who was number 1 and who was number 2, kind of depending on when it was. With Liquids after the first few weeks falling a bit behind. And I don't feel like Fnatic have moved. Honestly, I feel like Fnatic is just as strong as they were at the mid-season brawl, and it feels like we were the ones that dropped the ball for this part and this phase. So, I love this EU is strong narrative for sure, but it's my feeling that if we play to our full potential, then it would be us and Fnatic clearly ahead of everyone else. Rather than the situation we're in now, which is Fnatic being very clearly at the top, and then almost any other team being able to take anyone else in the league.
Are you surprised at all by the power level of Expert and, being? I mean, obviously ADRD has always been kind of a wild card. He's a mastermind. He's the mad scientist. Is Athro enough of an asset for the team to have made that difference, or did everyone on the team just kind of level up?
I think we saw that they were getting closer and closer to being a really good team throughout all of phase 1.
Always just behind the 3, yep.
And we knew that Aether would make them stronger. It's a mechanical upgrade in terms of team synergy. We knew that they already wanted to replace Blade during part 2 of phase 1. After we saw Aether play with them in that amateur tournament where they actually beat Fnatic in the finals. So we definitely knew that Aether would help them out and make them a lot stronger. But I think as we can see, they're still not on Fnatic's level. So this is about where I expected them to be.
Oh,
cool.
Wait, did you guys see that HGC clip? The intro where Bad Benny was riding a horse?
Oh, God.
That was the best thing ever.
That was ridiculously silly.
All I think about when I hear Expert now.
Yeah. That was really well done on the HGC's part. That caught me off guard. That was funny. Is that so, Jake? Please continue.
Sorry. I got triggered by a viewer who got triggered by me eating. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's interesting to see this state, though. It creates these last few matches in the HGC League become so crucial for not just one matchup, but if this team loses, it gives this other team a chance, and it creates a really nice narrative. Jared, are you okay?
Yeah, I slept all day, so I'm kind of still
Yeah, good, just like that. Excellent. And I really wish you the best of luck, Bakery, because it's gonna be A lot of praying that some teams fail and praying that you guys can get those big 3-0s. So
yeah, we're cheering for expert against Liquid. So
wait, but before we move on, I'm curious. So where would you say it's like Fnatic number 1, of course, but like where would you rank each team after that? Just like the top 5.
You say Dignitas number 2 after you just got 3-0'd. I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
whoa. Okay, first off, if I did say that, that's still number 2. That's not like Dig number 1, Fnatic number 2. Anyway, so like honestly, I would say, based on like HGC performance this phase, it's Fnatic very clearly number 1. It's like a decent gap, like a fairly big gap, and then it's us, Expert, and Liquid. I would say on the same tier.
No, that's not the question he asked. He said rank them 1 through 5. You don't get to say us at the same tier. Put them in a number order.
I want the number order. I think it'll be funny.
A number order. All right.
Numerical order. You can't be like us on the same tier as 3 other teams. Fuck that. If you fucking rank them, man.
Right.
Based on HCC performance, Fnatic, Expert, Dignitas, Liquid, Tricked.
Yeah.
And there's a big gap between 1 and 5 and everyone else.
Okay.
I think ANZ is going to get second and Fnatic's going to get first.
ANZ
boys. Just
Arcane are gonna come in hot and slay everyone.
he's like, yo, I left college for this.
Yeah,
This is
That was
now.
a decision, actually. I'm really glad they made top 8.
Yeah. It's, it always hurts to see that sacrifice being made, and I hope it works out for him, because that's definitely scary, making those calls in real life.
In other news, okay, I recently discovered Fat94's streams, and his stream is fantastic. It's kind of awkward hours, obviously, because he lives in Australia, but, you know, he's like full-time memeing, and that's great and all. And then, you know, he just starts like erotically dancing with like towels. Like, he's a great streamer, like a truly great streamer. I think it's Fat_94 on Twitch if you want to check it out. So,
Yeah, Fat streams, yeah. You should watch his stream.
Yeah.
All right, State of Hero League. Zoya, open it up. Rip open that Hero League discussiones.
Okay, so going back to, I guess, the beginning, I retired from Heroes about this time last year, probably a little bit before this. And I completely quit playing the game. I lost all care for it until Denial asked me to manage them, because Kath and I had always wanted to work together. We're good friends. They needed a manager. So I stepped in. And that slowly got me back into Heroes until I rejoined TownHall as a host. And that's when I really started to like trying to get back into the game. And I couldn't, because Hero League is fucking awful. It is the worst it has ever been for a lot of reasons. I think every pro agrees that this season is like the single worst season of Hero League the game has ever seen. And it blows my mind that the main thing from a person of my perspective, from a pleb's perspective, I'll let the pros rant about their position in the state of things. I don't want to talk about like the competitive aspect of this. But Heroes of the Storm is a game where it is fully about team play with your team. It's all about communication. And the fact that after 3 goddamn years we still don't have voice comms in this game, are you kidding me? Overwatch has it. Dota has it. There's no reason that we should there's no reason that we should I just realized you full screened me and it tilted me. Sorry. There's no reason we should not have voice comms in this game. Like, that is the most absurd bullshit thing. I can't not filter myself right now. How do we not have voice comms for Hero League after 3 years? The toxicity thing would be a problem in Overwatch too. You know what you do? You hit mute. If you don't want them, you hit mute. That's fine. You don't have to listen to it. But other games do it, and it doesn't break the game for them. This game is all about team play. It's all about communication. That's what Hero League is. and we don't have voice comms. And then I think another topic that people have been complaining about on Reddit is the fact that your quick match MMR is the same as your Hero League MMR. Is that how it works, right?
Okay,
it
contributes to it.
There's a lot of misconceptions about this, so I'll just come in quickly. Basically, when you start playing the game, you have a quick match MMR, and that goes up or down depending on if you win or lose, right? If you just win like quick match after quick match, and then when you press the Q button for Hero League, when you start playing Hero League, it takes your wins in quick match into account, and your losses and your record and everything like that. And then it starts you from a baseline MMR that is different for every single player, depending on how you performed in quick matches. It always prefers to take unranked draft. An unranked draft, again, seeds from quick match, and then it varies there.
So it's not a direct translation, though.
Not a direct translation.
Okay.
And then let's say you start playing, you play 100 games and you win 70 in quick match. It will start placing you immediately with platinum players in Hero League. And then if you start winning, you can go up, and that's how you can get Diamond 3, being your first season in Hero League.
Okay. Well, I'll ignore that point then for now. But my issue was when I got back into this game, Hero League had changed to where it was solo queue only. So I'm in a completely team-reliant game, having to play by yourself with no ability to communicate outside of pings and chats. And not only was it's just not, I mean, there's no reason to not have voice comms, but it was lonely. Hero League is lonely to me. I did not have any fun because there's almost no interaction with other people outside of when someone's raging in chat or the pings. It's just lonely. So that's my biggest problem with Hero League right now, is that when I returned to the game, it was my gateway for finding my passion to the game, and I don't play the game. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. I haven't played Hero League in 3-4 months, maybe a bit more, because it's so lonely and boring. Voice comms might not be the answer for everyone, but that would at least make it bearable for me, because at least with Hero League the solo duo queue, I could play with a friend and have fun with that friend. And some people are gonna be like, yeah, that's what Team League's for. I mean that could be your argument, right? But Hero League for me was what I wanted to play, right? Team League, it's awful. Like you can't get real games there. The MMR is so wonky. I don't know if it's gotten any better, but half the time you would be like with really good teams versus really bad teams, or you'd be a really bad team versus like a bunch of grandmasters, right? And it was always stomps in Team League. So even if you're with a group of friends having fun, the games were never challenging. They were never like similar skill levels. But in Hero League, it's just you're alone. And it's feeling alone in a game that's more team-oriented than any other game I've played. Heroes is all about your team play. I mean, and feeling alone in that is awful.
That's been our feedback about the game for like forever, that it doesn't, there's like so many games in modern day have like very little sense of community. Like you go back to earlier games like Warcraft 3 and they're like just like clan chats and stuff like that, and having that kind of functionality really adds a lot. But it does kind of feel that way sometimes when you're playing Heroes. Now, like typically when I have played Heroes, having your own like little community, that is a thing. But it's not something that's always accessible to someone that's just going to log in and play. You have to kind of look for it. And I'm sure there's a large number of players that do have their communities, whether it's the Trixler channel or what. Communities absolutely exist. It just kind of, you have to look for it, right? And that whole in-game experience, yeah. The lack of voice chat, because honestly, the average game of Heroes I'm going to play, I'm not going to play with voice chat. But the moment I go to Hero League, I want voice chat, right? And it's just a feature that we kind of thought would be coming when Overwatch had it, I feel. And it's been a year now since Overwatch came out, and Battle.net got it integrated into Battle.net. And then Heroes 2.0 came out. So I agree that it is rather surprising that we still don't have voice comms. But I mean, Michael, what are your opinions on the Hero League? Because we've gone into, you know, the state of having it be solo queue only. And what's your overall opinion on the state of Hero League?
I mean, if you asked me 2 months ago, I would have said I felt like there was a lot of improvement. I don't know what happened this season, but like It's just like 4 steps down. Like, cause I really felt like we were going in a good direction, right? Like, I felt like I saw improvement personally. Like, I felt like Hero League was getting better, and like last season at the end, like I had like the most fun for like a month and a half playing Hero League, and like I don't know what changed when like this season came out, and because it feels like people are saying map pool, but it's not just map pool. It's like I also feel like just the games have gotten worse. Like I feel like, and maybe that's like pros aren't playing as much, but like I feel like NA pros have actually gotten like way better about playing Hero League than they ever used to.
Yeah.
I mean, something that's like crazy for me is that like we still can't swap heroes. Like, I don't know, like that's something that pisses me off. Like if I'm ever last pick, you know, I just like instantly start hovering like medic because I know I'm gonna play support. Well, and it's just like you get people that it's like, okay, your first pick, like I want to be a tank player, but it's like Genji's up. Like I'm not good at Genji, but like and they have to play Genji, right? Because otherwise heroes just broken. So it's like I don't understand why we don't, because like I don't understand any downside to that. I mean, I guess someone picks a hero and that doesn't swap you, but I don't know. I feel like that's something that you could be an easy fix to like prove that like someone actually has the hero. I don't know. Like I think voice comms would be amazing. Like I've been asking for voice comms forever. Like all you do is mute if like you have someone toxic on your team. Like it really is not that big of a deal. But it's like the upside out of it, in my opinion, like outweighs the downside. Like it could be like a good thing for me to be able to practice shot calling too. So it's like, luckily I'm fast at typing, so it's like I'm always spamming my keyboard. But I really wish we had voice comms and swaps.
Well, so here's the thing: is that these two systems, like a lot of people are against voice chat and they're against swaps, but in my opinion, it is not really like a defensible argument, because there are so many ways that you can implement these things that make it easy, like, to get around these issues. So people say, okay, people are really toxic. Like, I already mute a ton of people in Hero League. Like, I already have to play with, like, Rich Hero, you know, like, I don't want to go on, like, voice comms with him. Well, the easy fix to all of those toxicity arguments is to make it opt-in voice chat, where the game starts and you need to click, like, a big button at the top right, and then you join the voice chat. And that has its own issues, obviously. Maybe it should be auto-join, like, on or stuff like that. But you can definitely get around by just not having voice chat on if you don't want to speak to people like that. And as long as most of the Hero League population, especially towards the higher tiers, has it on, then, again, no issue with that. Speaking also about hero swaps, like, another big argument is people are going to troll me. They're going to say, I'm going to swap your hero, or pick me this hero, and then they're not going to swap, right? Well, if someone wants to troll, they have so many tools, from picking Liark and just running down mids, which has been popular this season. or indeed, you know, just picking Murky, not picking a support, not picking a tank. Like, why does the swap system change anything? If someone wants to troll, they're going to troll anyway. It doesn't matter.
You know what? Just to briefly cut you off. You know what would be a great fix for that? A reliable fucking reporting system, Blizzard. How is Grubby getting banned, huh? How is Michael Udall getting banned? Huh? A reliable reporting system would probably fix most trolls.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm in a similar boat to Zoya. I don't know if I'm an MMR hell or what, but I'm done with Hero League, like, pretty much forever. I'm still down to play quick match and the brawls and the other stuff, but most of my heroes consumption comes from watching nowadays, and for me, it's partially due to just having other projects on my plate. I'm doing like 3 or 4 different games right now. I've got this big Minecraft project that's been consuming a ton of time of mine, and breakaway stuff is really going well for Zoya and I. We've got a lot of cool stuff on our plate with that, and like I just don't have the time to consider dealing with Hero League when it's, again, just a generally frustrating experience right now. And I don't know what I don't have an answer of like what's wrong with it. It just, you know, my games, and they just don't ever feel good.
I do want to say one thing. Like, there's been a lot of rage coming from me, and I started the conversation off wrong with the voice comms. Voice comms were part of my solution for what my main problem was. I quit playing Heroes of the Storm because of Hero League being lonely, and voice comms was the only solution I could think of that would potentially remedy the solo queue aspect of it. while I did rant pretty hard about there not being voice comms, that's not my biggest issue with Hero League. My biggest issue with Hero League is I go in and I'm by myself. It doesn't matter. There's 4 other people on my team. For the most part, they could be bots for all like half the time. They don't speak half the time. Most of the time, players don't ping. That's my problem with Hero League, is that it needs to feel like a team game. That's always been the struggle with Heroes of the Storm, is that inside the game, there's never been a feel of community. Even with the evolution of chat channels, right? And even in the current state of how the chat's gone with Heroes 2.0, it still feels like there is no community inside of the game.
So what's interesting is, for a long time, my philosophy was they're going to make Warcraft 4. And then they're going to port Heroes to Warcraft 4. And I figured that would have been Heroes 2.0. But the moment they called this most recent update 2.0, which didn't really have the evolutions that we thought it might have, it was more just kind of like a changing to the loot structure and adding sprays and stuff, which is great, mind you. I personally am a big fan of that. It wasn't what I thought a 2.0 might be, because the engine still feels dated. Like, I hate this to be a rant on Heroes discussion, because Zoya opened the can with that theme and we're just going in right now. But like, the whole lack of like a better observer UI in HGC blows my freaking mind still. And that is something that they asked us about and asked for feedback of like 2 years ago. And, you know, to see that not be a priority, it's just like, well, you have this league and you guys gave all these players salaries, and yet your production literally has the least amount of emphasis on gameplay and the tools within gameplay. It blows my fucking mind. It really does. They literally spend all the money and resources and time on frickin' pretty cameras and shots in a studio. And while that's great for a show, I want to put the fucking sports back in esports, boys, because that's what they're not doing. The in-game has the least tools, the least money spent, the least resources. The fact that they have to, in production, do the freaking quest talent is done pisses me off, like, to an extreme extent, because I've worked in production for a long time. And I don't know where that rant came from, but I feel relieved. I feel like I just got that off my chest.
I can relate with that because, listen, it's no surprise to anyone how I'm slowly moving away from HOTS again. Like, every week people call me out in chat more and more that I'm not clearly studying and following the game anymore. In fact, over a month ago, I was the first one to go to these guys and be like, hey, I'm not following Heroes barely. I think I should leave the show. They convinced me to stay for a bit longer and try and find more ways. And honestly, I've been watching more HGC now than I ever did last season, even when I was managing a team. But this was a game that we've devoted our last 3 to 4 years to, right? Like, this game was our life. And when I try to get back into it, I can't. It's the game. It's not the community, right? I love the community. It's not the players. I love the players. And it's not like Blizzard itself, right? I love Blizzard employees and I love what they're trying to do with HGC. It is the game itself and the features inside the game that are preventing me from falling back in love with this game. This game was my life for so long. That's
you, and I would disagree with that for me. I still love the game, and I still get excited about every new hero release. But yeah, that's unfortunate to hear, Zoya. I mean, I knew it, but
yeah. But I'm just, and I can't. For me, being a part of a game means playing it.
Yeah.
And right now, and that would mean playing Hero League, not Team League, not Quick Match, Hero League. And Hero League is what's gating me right now. I don't know if that's the same for a lot of people. Yeah. Maybe it's just a Zoya problem and it's time to go. Which, if that's the case, it's fine. But for me, the lack of tools in the game are why I can't get back into this game as much as I was before.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird with Heroes being like the one game that doesn't have a lot of options for custom games. Like, we have our sandbox mode now, and like that gives me so much hope for like future things. Because I mean, Michael, have you ever played with the sandbox mode for just like fun stuff?
Yeah, I play in the sandbox mode all the time. I don't know, like my team, we hop in there, do 1v1s and stuff. It honestly is so nice. Wait, have you ever done like the all the way damage up and then you just like,
dude?
Literally
like
yesterday I was murky and I octo grab and just one shot people. It was insane. Yeah.
But like having the freedom to build cool stuff is like, that's kind of what I'm hoping they open up in Heroes in the future, because I think the game would benefit greatly from just being able to play custom games like that. I don't want a ladder where we can do 20,000 damage extra percent. And even the brawls have been fairly tame, except for the, every once in a while, like the Stitches one we had, Pool Party, was fantastic.
Oh, I love that one.
Grudge Wars, I loved it.
It was so good. But yeah, I mean, I feel you, Zoya. I feel like, there's some things that are still gaps. And for the game to be as old as it is, we're about 3 years since we've been doing stuff, 2 years since launch. It is surprising, but Blizzard's always been a company that moves so slow with this stuff. They want everything to be refined and perfect, and that's their business mentality, and I get it. And who knows? But any other comments on Hero League?
Yeah, I think we should drag it back to Hero League. I don't know how we got here, but
yeah, well,
it's not Hero League.
My whole point was it's Hero League that's doing this to me. Hero League needs to be fixed.
Okay, well, let's hear some other comments on Hero League.
So I'm definitely in the same boat as Michael Udall here. Like, I was starting to enjoy Hero League. I really dislike solo queue only, but I was kind of dealing with it. Like, I felt like the matchmaking was getting better. The GM leaderboard was more and more representative of what I thought it actually should have been like. Obviously, back in Season 1, we had a career, like, ranked 10 player who somehow reached GM first, playing only Nazebo. Like, I don't know how that happened, but that wasn't happening in the later seasons. And things were actually looking good, but this season, I have no idea what happened, but every single game I play is either over in 10 minutes or 30 minutes. Like, it's almost no semblance of, like, balanced in terms of... I feel like the game proceeds in a normal way for Heroes of the Storm. Every single game just feels like a complete clown fiesta, and it's been no fun, and I haven't felt like I can improve a lot from it this season. Again, even looking at Team League, I don't think Team League is in a good position either. Very, very long queues, ends up matching me sometimes with people who are wildly away from my MMR, such as Diamond to Bronze and stuff like that, after very lengthy queues. I really do feel like Hero League... Like, regardless of whatever happened this season, I really do feel like Hero League needs to have some more tools to promote actual high-level play. Because it feels like right now, even if you get a team of very highly skilled players, there's still so little coordination that even if it was effectively good matchmaking of, hey, these 5 players are very similar in skill to these 5 players, you can still get a situation where, as it turns out, this team had 5 assassin mains, and none of them have any idea how to melee assassin, tank, or support, and then they just get stomped because of that. Or you get one team, and this team's ended up, none of them are the players that use chat. They're all followers. So no one's shot calling for that team. While the other team has, like, 5 people who will type all the time, and then obviously the team with more communication is going to win. Like, I feel like the matchmaker probably needs, like, to be able to take more things into account than just raw MMR. And I also think that voice chat would be a huge help with that. Yeah. And I think that queuing for roles would be a huge help with that as well.
I think they're just terrified of increasing the queue time. As soon as you bring that, the queuing for roles into play, the queue time goes up.
Well, okay, but here's the thing: is how many people have complained about their Hero League queue time in the past 2 months? Because
that was Team League.
No, that was Team League.
Oh.
I do not know of a single person that has complained about Hero League queues taking too long. Because again, this season they've been very quick for me, and the last few seasons they were getting quicker and quicker. So I don't think it's an issue to be upping the queue time a bit right now in Hero League.
We talked about how more tools would make it better, like the swapping and the Hero League, but I recently just started playing Battle Right again, and they added a new feature where for solo queue you can enable something called strict matchmaking, which guarantees your queue will potentially be much longer but it waits until you have a team.
Oh, it's just like a checkbox?
Yeah, it's like a little checkbox. You check
That's dope.
right before you hit Q, and then it just makes sure you're matched with people around your level. Would that be a tool that you would want for heroes, even if it means potentially doubling or tripling your queue times?
I mean, for me, yes, but it's kind of a niche. It might end up being a situation where everybody wants to take that. I'm not sure from a game design standpoint it's healthy to have those kind of checkboxes. Ideally, we'd have a situation where the matchmaker works for everyone. But yeah, potentially that could be a very worthwhile band-aid for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious your thoughts. So like with like the role situation, would it be something where like you have like a main role and an off role? Because I mean, I actually feel like that's something that could work a lot and wouldn't necessarily, obviously make queue times a little worse, but it wouldn't be that bad. If you're like, okay, I'm an assassin main tank off tank, and then it just like gives you one of them, like I think that could actually be really good. That's what I do, right? Like I play off tanks, I play. So.
No, like. I'm not sure how you do it, because Heroes is so flexible in this regard, where you can just say, okay guys, let's have 2 supports this game, and it didn't match you 2 supports. Like, okay, that's a bit weird. Like ideally, I would just think you have 3 main roles where you say, I want to support, I want to tank, I want to be a damage dealer. Or okay, so you have those 3, and then you have one more, which is like flex.
Flex. Yeah, you just play whatever.
I'm open for anything.
And every single game, it would match like 1 support main, 1 tank main, 1 damage main, and the other 2 can be whatever.
So it's pretty much World of Warcraft, quick match queue or whatever,
dungeons,
the dungeon finder. Yeah, like it's pretty much a WoW dungeon finder, and like as annoying as that might be, you still have your preference you're queuing for, and your flex could play that secondary support. I guess the most grievous part of that system is if you queue for support, are you going to restrict their pool to like supports plus Medivh, right? Because so then you're not going to restrict their pool, but then some person might queue a support because they think they'll get a faster queue, but then they're not actually playing support. So there's like, the intents are definitely good, and you just then need to rely on the community being like trustworthy and to not abuse the system. But I agree that is a good potential solution.
You can't implement
League of Legends has a similar system to this, but it's much stricter. It is you are top lane, you are jungle, etc.
That's League. That doesn't work for this game. You don't have those defined roles per game.
Yeah, we definitely need a lot more flexibility in Heroes, but they are very, very strict about punishing people that get queued for mid lane and then pick a support hero or something like that. Or get queued for support and they say, I'm going top, I don't care. It's very quick punishments, and stuff like ranked bans and also just game bans as well come out.
You can't implement a system like that, though, without role swapping. Because if you are your support and you're our first pick, you're gonna first pick your support over a Genji, right? Like you have to have you have to have hero swapping if you're gonna implement something like that. So it just doubles back to that. Like we need hero swapping along with that if it's gonna survive together. Because there's gonna be nothing more frustrating than like your 3 assassins. Like say like it just happens you have 3 people wanting to play assassins, but your tank and your support are picking first, and then you have to give up all the high priority damages you want to pick up, or whatever the meta revolves around. You need to have both for that to work.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely been unanimous across the board from pretty much players all across NAEU, you name it, that this season has been rough for whatever reason. I don't know what has changed in the algorithm. I don't know what has changed. And is the meta super stale? Because again, I have not been playing Hero League. At the highest level, is the meta like, is it bad? Is it pretty much what HGC is? Like, what's the deal there?
So there are 2 main suspects for what has destroyed Hero League this season. So the first thing we're looking at is Heroes 2.0, and also Nexus Challenge 2.0, and also 23 Heroes. That brought a lot of players to the game. We know for sure, like just looking at stuff like Reddit numbers, looking at stuff like Twitch numbers, the player base has increased by a very healthy amount. We're looking at maybe 2 to 3 times. And we haven't really been dropping. Like, the spike happened, like things got really hype, it leveled off, and then we're staying very level in terms of all online metrics. So it's a good sign for the game for sure. But that does mean a lot more people are playing Hero League. A lot more people that haven't played the game before are also in Hero League. And that might have skewed the matchmaking significantly because, of course, most of the players from before did come in either preseason or season 1. And that's why things were getting better, because less people were coming into Hero League. So that's suspect number 1. Suspect number 2 is they actually made a change to the way that ranks work in Hero League. And they, I think, halved or removed in certain situations personal rank adjustment. So before, if you were, let's say you had the MMR of a Grandmaster 50, but you were stuck in Diamond 1, you were getting like plus 40 points every single game to help you climb faster. They, in certain situations, just removed that entirely, and in some halved that bonus. So that might have created a situation where people are getting stuck in the wrong positions. And there is kind of a separate clause in the matchmaker which looks to match people based on visible rank. And it's not the priority. The priority is still MMR, but that clause and the personal rank adjustment changes might be causing some issues. Other than that, I have no idea. And I don't think either of those alone could make it this bad. So
This is a little side bit, but it also is mind-blowing to me that this could be wrong, right? But from my perspective, Hero League is the first step you take towards watching HGC, right? Like when you start, or whenever you start watching HGC, that might entice you to play Hero League more. Why are the map pools so different?
Yeah.
Oh, that's suspect number 3 actually. The map rotation.
I got you, dog. Why are the map pools that different? Like I would have to see the map pools side by side, but there are several maps in the Hero League queue right now that are not in HGC, right?
Yeah.
My personal interpretation is that the way that HGC did it was a very like, hey, HGC competitive. We need to have a map pool because players can't learn this many at the highest level, more and more coming in. We need to chuck a limit on it. And so it was a very informal, hey guys, let's just vote. Like the players can decide what are the best maps, right? I don't think that decision was made with the fact that the game as a whole was going to start implementing map rotations. And so if it was me in charge of like systems or game design, I would not be comfortable with putting my map rotation in the hands of the vote of a pro player who had no knowledge that this would be how the game did it.
Right.
Going into 2018, if that was a formal, we're going to take like data, we're going to take votes from pro players, and we're going to do a unified map pool, then I'd be definitely down for Hero League and competitive to have exactly the same. I think that's best for the game health. But I don't think copying the HCC map rotation right now is the correct way to go about it.
I love the sentiment in chat, by the way, that 2 people in this call don't play Hero League, so why can they talk about Hero League? We're talking about Hero League, so maybe we'll start playing it again. If it goes in the right direction to fix the issues with Hero League, maybe we'll start playing again. Think just a little bit, people. Keep up.
I don't know about you guys, but like Baker, have you gotten like a lot of like? I feel like there's so many one tricks, which I mean, it's gonna happen in like no matter what game, but it's like there are a lot of players that, and that's kind of like goes off Jake's original question of like, is it kind of the HGC meta? I mean, I would say no, because I think there are a lot of comps that you do in competitive. Like, I could only imagine trying to run like a Nubarak plus Illidan, like Cocoon Hunt in Hero League. Like, it would be insane, right? Like, and I think a lot of that does come down to voice comps. Like, having voice comp, like, it's a pretty simple combo, where it's just like I'm hunting, they throw the Cocoon out, right? And that's something that, like in Hero League, I just, without comms, like I'd have to like spam ping my hunt and then type go, you know, and then like hunt, and so it's like I think a lot of those like comps and like things that you do in competitive don't necessarily work in Hero League just because lack of communication. But I also think like they're just one tricks. Like I feel like I have Diablo on my team every game. Like I don't know what it is. There are just so many Diablo one tricks, which yeah.
Like, so did you play like a different game at like a high level before Heroes, Mikey?
I mean, I played Han at like decently high MMR, but not like competitive.
This is your first competitive game.
It's my first competitive game, yeah.
Like in Han, did you see like more or less one fix? What do you say?
I'd probably say I think less.
Okay. Like my experience from League was that one fix were like super common, and until this season, in Europe, like I didn't hardly saw any. Like I mean, Timeless wasn't really a hero one fix. It was more one melee assassin at a time one fix. So
yeah,
I feel like compared to League, there've been less, but I definitely see your point of like there were more and more like as the seasons progress, and this season definitely has the most one fix. I don't know if that's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bad thing. It's just something that like I've noticed, and I'm curious. And that might just be like the influx of players who are, you know, like I got to Grandmaster playing this one hero. Like I want to stay a Grandmaster, so I'm just gonna play this one hero. So I'm just curious where, and that's probably just answering my own question, but right there, we did it, guys. High fives all around. Nice.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I think the problem is like, especially at varying leagues or, you know, within Hero League, if you're a one-trick Gazlo, and you could be a sincerely good Gazlo, and you first pick him without like there being a prominent form of communication, people don't usually talk, right? There's still text chat. People don't usually say, look, I'm really good Gazlo, please trust me. That doesn't happen, and people instantly rage and the mentality goes down, and that's just part of the ecosystem in Hero League and pretty much every MOBA on the market, which is really hard for, I don't know, creating a good situation. But the problem with Heroes versus like say League of Legends when that happens is you can sincerely carry if you're actually that good on that hero, whereas in Heroes it's a team game, right? It is truly reliant on your team coordinating and playing together and rotating and having a hero that works well in the solo lane. If you end up drafting like 5 good solo laners in a map where lane clear isn't that prominent, and you know that's what you have, it could be worthless, and their composition might just, you know, be booty butt cheeks because you have all your one tricks. And I don't know, it makes it tough sometimes. Any final remarks on Hero League?
I just want to say that I was very heated and aggressive with this, but this all comes from my love of the game, right? I find it difficult to stay involved in this stuff without being able to play, and I'm hoping maybe again, you know, it's just time to move on, I guess. But I think with these changes, that might entice me to play Hero League more. And I'm only bringing this up because I want to keep involved with the game and keep playing. So those are the things that would make the game, you know, better for me, because Hero League's important to me, and it's just lonely. So hopefully,
changes a hug on his birthday. So here, buddy.
Well, I'm not lonely right now because I don't play Hero League, so.
So I guess the next topic we can do is just a bit of speculation.
Wait! Whoa!
You said everyone gets final thoughts.
I have final thoughts.
Hey.
It's only Zoya that has final thoughts right now. All right. Okay. So for me, like a quick fix to Hero League, I would really prefer if, like the matchmaking system, just in general, focused more on putting everyone at a given MMR bracket as close to each other as possible, rather than creating a balanced game. Like, in my opinion, I would rather play, like, 5 GMs versus 5 higher GMs than playing, like, 4 GMs, 1 Diamond 3 versus, like, 5 Master players. Like, that's a balanced game, but it doesn't feel good for almost anyone in there. Like, I just feel like those games are always bad. Place everyone as close to each other as possible, and place everyone on the enemy team as close to each other as possible. I think that's the correct way to prioritize matchmaking.
I think in Heroes of the Storm online play, just to kind of put some emphasis on what you just said, I've always felt that in Heroes, the team with the worst player loses, more so than the team with the best player wins. And it's not in every situation, of course, but especially if it goes into late game, one person stepping out, walking into the middle of Garden of Terror, and then just getting picked could cost you the game right then and there. And you know, that's kind of why I feel like that 1 diamond with GMs versus 5 masters just doesn't really work in most cases. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. So my next point is a personal one. Like, I really want Duo Q. Like, solo queue, I'm so with Zoya. Like, it feels so lonely to me, and
Yeah.
I just want duo queue. Like, as a support main, like as a pro player, it's so much more helpful for me to be able to play with like someone on comms, and that I know and that I can really trust to be good, and we can practice combos. I can support them. That's my role. And also on a personal standpoint, it feels so much better to just play with a friend, honestly.
I mean, and just to speak for Dunk, because I know he's not here, Dunk is always trying to queue with Bam Bam or Dreadnought or anyone anytime he's streaming, and like they have to like try to queue up together. And that's probably the story of everyone, especially at the top level. I mean, Michael, speak to me.
I mean, back when Hero League was really bad, that's what we do. We had like a Discord channel with all the pros, and we'd be like, all right, I would always broadcast like US8 now, go, go, go. And then you see like 10 pros like all queue up, and we'd all get each other. I mean, so my final thoughts on Hero League, I guess I'm going to go more optimistic. I mean, I feel like I really am a believer. Like last season, like I really felt like Hero League was getting good. And I believe that they'll be able to get back to that point. Also, I don't know if you guys remember this. I feel like there's a panel at BlizzCon where they said they're going to come out with voice comms this year. They
did confirm voice comms most likely this year, actively being worked on.
I mean,
so that's good.
Let's go back to BlizzCons ago. They announced arenas, and we got it like a week before BlizzCon. So you'll get it a week before BlizzCon.
But BlizzCon 2015, they said summer, and it was August.
Yeah,
which is still kind of summer. So it wasn't that far off of their announcement. It's just they announced it 9 months early anyway for some reason.
So I mean, we'll probably get voice cams by the end of the year is what I'm hoping for. I mean, I just want hero swaps as well. Like I still really enjoy the game. I mean, I guess luckily being able to play competitive. I think if I didn't play competitive, I probably would hate the game. But well, I mean, I guess maybe I wouldn't. Just like having that taste of like something so much better. It's like hard to play Hero League. So I mean, I'm excited moving forward. I feel like maybe I feel like Blizzard's done decently well with their game. I'm very happy with like the steps they've made, like especially HGC for me at least. And this is just
HGC is in a great spot. HGC is primo.
Yeah. So
back to my previous statement, you know, my only issue is I just don't play the game. I love HGC, the community is great, and the pros are great, right? And Blizzard overall is great too. You know, all aspects of the game I love, except playing. That's my only
That's fair. Yeah.
That could just be me. I'm not going to crucify you for saying you think it's in the right direction or whatever.
I'm not going to crucify you for that, like going the other way. Because like I think criticism is really good, and I think pointing out mistakes. Because I feel like probably one of the hardest things in the world would be to balance a game, or to like make a game be user friendly for everyone. Like it's just like not possible. Like everyone wants different things.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like. It's insane. Like,
I mean, even like Melee, which is supposed to be like this super welcoming game, the moment that a casual player plays Melee against anyone that has any idea of how to play the game, they hate it. So it's really hard to find that middle ground. Like none of my friends in high school would ever play. They would be like, I'd be like, yo guys, let's play Melee, because I just wanted to. That's all I did. And they just, I taught them how to hate the game. And that's kind of like one of the things that it's so hard to balance behind when you're trying to make a title that's both, you know, casual friendly and then yet competitive, and I think Heroes has at least achieved these pockets where it's really friendly for anyone that just wants to play and have fun, and things like Brawls are really good for that as well. But we'll see. We need to talk about our predictions for the new hero, but before we go with that, I just want to remind everyone that Zoya and I will be casting a show match tonight. Not a show match, but a final qualifier for Bloodlust between No Tomorrow and Niantic. They're playing a best-of-5 series tonight. The winning team will move on and join the top 8 teams for Bloodlust. We have Dunk Train and Zoya both flying out here. Dunk will be there to carry the analysis and the game knowledge. Like, he is going to be literally the grounding for that. And Zoya and I are just going to have a fun time casting, eating hot peppers, and doing a great time. We might try to Skype in Bakery for some analysis through the weekend as well. But that's going to be really fun. And I mean, Michael Udall, I mean, what do you think teams are going to treat that event a little bit differently, Bloodlust, this year, since again it's right before the Western Clash, and it's kind of just like in one way it's like boot camp, but it's boot camp where 2 teams walk home with money.
I mean, I think all the non-Western Clash teams will just like you know, do everything, pull out all their strategies, because I mean they have nothing else to play for, right, for like a month, and everything's going to change in the next patch. But I think Western Clash teams will probably hold back a little because they don't necessarily want other teams to see the strategy. But it is a lot of money, so I mean I'm really excited about it. Thank you for throwing it. I'm excited to play in tournaments. It's so much more fun to play in tournaments than just to like scrim every single day. So I'm really excited for it. It's gonna be fun.
No, I'm just excited to be able to run an event with my Boya, Zoya, and Dunkus, and then cast some awesome games of heroes, because it's the standard double elim bracket, which I don't know that we've had a single double elim bracket all year. We've had like the group format, HGC and stuff, which is fantastic. But this, to me, this feels like the throwback old school events that, you know, the scene was born on, really. So it's going to be a good one. But yeah, Naventic no tomorrow to decide the last team. Last night, Superstars defeated Even and F to earn their spot. The amateur teams, if you guys don't know, hold it down. That's Arthalon, McIntyre, Crowan, BBJ, and Ishbu. So that's a lot of notable names. It's one of the teams. They're kind of like, you know, one of the wild cards coming in. And Donkeys Are Us, which is like LZ Gamer. Pretty much the old nice squad, but they, instead of Legend, they have Drake, also known as Picante. And they've been on the up and up, I feel. So it's going to be a really interesting bracket to see how these amateur teams mesh with the 6 HGC teams in the bracket, because I don't know. They look so much better than Phase 1 HGC Open.
It might give insight into, you know, who's going to be stepping up in the Crucible next time around. We'll see.
I think so, for sure. I mean, those two teams are, and then there's another team called Players Unknown. If you look at the HGC Open rankings, they're the other prominent team there. But anyways, smash.gg/bloodlust if you want to learn more about that. Like I said, the best of 5 tonight will be in an hour and a half from now, live happening. It will be played on the Tournament Realm. So Blizzard released a teaser, and they had something on the HGC China broadcast showing off an image of the Dark Portal as their teaser of who the next hero will be. Now, you see the Dark Portal, traditionally you're thinking of heroes like Illidan, Gul'dan, right? The bad guys, Black Temple, you know, in the 2 expansions. And I'm curious what you guys think. What are your guys' predictions? If I mean, who here actually played World of Warcraft?
Probably all of us, right?
I did.
Okay, good. Okay, so you guys have all played during Burning Crusade? Because this looks like the Dark Portal during
not
DC.
Deathwing, I'm going to crucify Blizzard.
I feel like we've been down this path before.
I don't know. I think the overall sentiment on Reddit, they think it's Garrosh, which I think would be cool. He was one of the cooler villains, because he's like, I love villains that are like, they're bad, but they think they're doing it for like the greater good, right? Like he's trying to like make the Horde what he thinks the Horde should be and stuff in the Siege of Orgrimmar section. And then, you know, he really fell off going into Warlords of Draenor and like went full evil and stupid. But I loved his storyline and progression as a character over the years of WoW. So I would be really happy with Garrosh.
There's actually a second image, Jake, that I linked in Skype that might be better to illustrate the point. But as you can see, if you zoom in and enhance on the bottom of that of the Dark Portal in that picture, you can see a shadowy figure.
Oh, Nani?
So my guess initially was Ner'zhul, which I think would be super interesting. Cool. But like having thought more about it, I guess Garrosh would probably make more sense.
That's totally an orc. That's 100% an orc.
I think so.
So orcs are the master race. I feel like there's more orcs than humans from the Warcraft universe by far. And
wait, Veigar,
Samuro,
Thor, Samura, Thor,
and then Rexar's half orc, right?
Does he count?
And then there's so many orc skins.
It's not really a hero.
Sergeant Hammer has an orc skin. Like, it goes on and on. But that's really quite cool. I didn't realize there was a enhance that you could do to take a look at the portal. And it does seem like the silhouette of an orc for sure. I don't know if that's his blade, or his axe or
Or
whatever. Gorehowl, is it? Is he
Yeah,
Grum?
Gorehowl.
Gorehowl?
Yeah, that's
I was actually just talking about this recently, the distribution, and this is such a subjective, stupid thing to consider when it comes to releasing heroes. But when it comes to the actual distribution of the various classes from the Warcraft universe and the various races from the Warcraft universe, and I think we just lack Draenei at this point, which is, again, who cares? I mean, Draenei mains care. Beyond them, no one cares. So my wife cares.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Javel. Personally.
You're all little Ret Pally, right?
Yeah, but there's no way that is like her or Prophet Velen,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I thought Prophet Valen is.
That silhouette is not
they're
either
coming
of
through
them.
the portal, honestly. So.
As much as I
but-
agree, those would both be great.
Valen would be so sick.
The thing
Yeah.
is that this is the portal in the Blasted Lands. This isn't the portal in Hellfire Peninsula, I
Right,
think.
they're entering
So
Azeroth.
They're coming from
Right.
Draenor /
means
Outland
Warlords
to
right.
Azeroth.
Right.
So
Shit. I gotta go log into WoW.
I hope it is just like it would. I know it won't happen, and most people would be pissed about it. But I would find that hilarious and awesome if they just like curveballed and it's like an Overwatch character coming out of the dark portal. Like,
It's like Farah. She's just go.
yeah, just like something not related to WoW or the dark portal at all. Like that would make me so happy. Like just
I think-
embrace the troll.
I think the only way they could do it and people wouldn't be pissed would be Kel'Thuzad. Just Kel'Thuzad like comes out like of the portal.
Yeah, I mean, people would freak out. He's got to come eventually. My first instinct was like, man, it'd be cool to have like a Naga because we've got so many freaking orcs, right? Like
this could potentially be a Naga. People are saying
be a
it snakes down or like.
Well, Lady Vash was my snap. Just like I'm thinking of like other raid bosses that I remember being prominent fights that I fought in BC. We already have Kael'thas. You know, we've already got Illidan. Like Lady Vash, she just seems like a really cool option. Like, but how would Lady Vash differ from like a Lunara exactly? Because Lady Vash seems like a poison-esque, range.
She would differ pretty much from Lunara.
You think
Lunara's
it-
prancing
I think
little.
it would be
Well, and her kid.
I don't know. There's really nothing. Like the only thing you can base off of this is on his left side, our right. There looks like there's potentially a shield there, and on his right, our left, it looks like he's holding a sword. So it looks like more than likely it's going to be like a fighter type character, which leans more to potentially Garrosh, Grommash.
Possibly the first solo warrior of 2+ years.
Yeah, but I was going to mention that too. We haven't had a solo warrior in a while, and seeing potentially a shield there would be nice for solo warriors.
That would be nice. I would agree because like Johanna we were talking about this last week, right? Johanna's the last main tank they've put in the game.
That's crazy.
There are phases of like wasn't
that crazy?
Varian technically work as a solo
well,
warrior
yeah,
for a
Varian
little bit,
technically.
but
That's
he
so
wasn't
long ago.
designed as a solo warrior. So yeah, it would be nice if we had a tank, a true tank. But I don't know who that could be. Coming through the dark portal with a sword and a shield.
Yeah, I don't know.
Varian doesn't count as a true solo warrior. He's multi-class, right? Like, yes, he could have at one point solo tanked, but he was not designed as a solo tank.
Even when he solo tanked, Juvan, or even when he main tanked, Juvan, like as off tank because once he was in, he couldn't get out and he couldn't really engage. So you ran him with like an Arthas or a hacker or something to help him go in anyway. So still not really a solo warrior.
We did end up
Just give
getting
me Rel.
fewer questions in the Discord, by the way.
Okay, I'll take that in a sec. As we just remember Urel and wish for her. Blizzard, give us a Draenei. Come on. And give us a true gnome. Chromie's a dragon. She don't count. She's just taking the form of a gnome.
Mechatork would make me play Hero League. That's for sure.
So, did you play through Legion? Gelbin Megatork has he's got freaking shredder.
Yo, real talk, that cinematic where with Varian was the first cinematic in WoW that ever featured a gnome. Like a true cinematic featuring a gnome. That was the very first
Because
one.
Megatork was there? Yeah.
And it was Mechatork. I've always been a gnome fan.
Yeah,
in
you're
WoW.
filthy.
All my characters that are Alliance are gnomes if they can be. But yeah, I would love another gnome, but that does not look like a gnome.
All right, TownHall Heroes Discord. If you guys, or the Arcane 8 Discord, the TownHall Heroes channel. If you guys do have viewer questions, Joy, have you skimmed through this? There's actually a lot more than I expected.
I have not yet. I just now joined the channel myself.
So who do you
too.
Everyone I'll just read this
How do
one.
I
Everyone
join?
thinks Genji is so oppressive right now outside of professional. Is that really the case? Do you guys think outside of the top level that Genji is as bad as people make him out to be?
I mean, factually, no, he isn't. Like, his win rate is not like high. It's actually one of the lowest in the game at actually every tier. But he is very, very frustrating to play against, and he does have like a huge amount of influence on the game. So people are definitely right to be frustrated, and I think they are right to call for nerfs. But no, like factually, he's not actually a strong hero.
Hold on, Michael. I'll link it to
In
you.
Hero League.
Thank you.
Agree, Michael? Or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I think Genji in the hands of a good player is like absolutely like the worst thing to play against. But the majority of the times I play against him in Hero League, he just like ease in and dies, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like,
That's true.
So I just ban him unless I'm first pick because I don't want him on my team. I don't want him on their team, you know, because it's
Right.
yeah.
Dione asks, "Cursed Bullet, do you feel it's healthy in its current state, and how would you alter it if it needs it?"
Oh wow, I didn't even see all those ones scrolled up there. Damn, I was only looking at half the questions. So yeah, Cursed Bullet, Udall, go.
I hate that talent. I mean, like if you think about it, like compared to other ults, it's pretty insane, right? You do 40%, you know, armor doesn't matter, like 30-second cooldown. It's like pretty reliable. Like it, I think Greymane's in a great spot, so I don't really want him to change it. Like I think he's like good, like he has strengths and weaknesses, but I mean that talent in general, when you compare it to other ultimates, like it's better than Pyroblast, or it's like Pyroblast, except you don't have to stand there and stun yourself for like a minute channeling. So it's like
On a 30-second cooldown.
yeah, on a 30-second cooldown. So like it's a really good talent. I like it because I think it yeah. So it's a crazy talent.
Bakery
That's my
Dizzle?
answer.
I really hate the design of that talent. So here's the thing: is that they add the ult, it's like 25% or something, and then it's like 40-second cooldown, something like that. And it's got like 40% win rate, and like, damn, the talent's too weak. Let's buff it. So they put like 30 seconds cooldown, 30%, and then people don't pick it. And they're like, all right, we got to buff it more because you know it's only got like 45% win rate now, and they just keep buffing it. But the reason it doesn't have a high win rate is because it just doesn't fit with his kit properly, and people didn't like understand how to use it. It's such an unhealthy point of like, oh hey, I'm a tank, I've got an Uther, I walk in, oh 4% of my health down. Like it's such an unhealthy thing for the game, and especially competitive. But because it doesn't actually work with his kit like Go for the Throat does, it's never going to be like a strong ability unless it is oppressive. I'd really like to see them add some form of like movement speed or armor or range increase possibly, like, or I don't know, like in recast the ability to like roll. I don't know, just an extra component where that means we can tune the numbers down and it will actually feel good to play with.
There are a lot of questions about A, the thoughts on the HGC standings, and B, a lot of questions about Hero League. If you're like recently joining, we've answered most of those questions that I'm seeing. Like we kind of be repeating ourselves. So if you ask questions relating to like standings and stuff, go watch the first half of the show. Because we've answered a lot of these questions.
Those are like literally the topics tonight. So
yeah, we've answered a lot of these questions.
I think here's actually a pretty good one. It's from Kevin, so he's like a support player kind of in the amateur scene.
Yeah.
He won Dorns with UTA. So he said, Bakery, if Cleanse was taken away from the rest of the supports, how big of an impact would it be to the support meta, and how would it change the viability of supports that still have Cleanse like Rhaegar?
I mean, assuming no changes, it would probably just destroy the game. Like right now, there's already like big issues of like Uther first ban, not that uncommon. You like deny Rhaegar. You pick like a double support composition with Brightwing maybe, or maybe you ban the Brightwing. And then the enemy team didn't pick their support in the first rotation because there's a lot of good picks right now, and if they were second pick, they only had 2 slots in which to do it. And then they don't get support with Cleanse, and that's already very abusable. If you just removed it from everyone, I feel like it would literally be free win unless you got like Uther right now. I know Stukov is coming, and he's also not a support with Cleanse. So he'd be kind of in the same boat as Kharazim. Especially once he hits level 10, he can probably do a lot to help them, but before then he'd really struggle. I think there always needs to be Cleanse in the game, preferably on a tier with a talent that isn't about cleansing to save. Preferably they have the tools already in their kit, like Stukov, with which to save them. And Cleanse would compete with a huge damage increase or a huge sustain heal increase or something like that. But yeah, I think it would just destroy the game that the drafting and the game works if you just to take it off heroes. And Rhaegar in his current state would have literally no use.
We also had a really long discussion about supports last episode that kind of glossed over that.
Yeah.
So if you find that discussion interesting, I really recommend watching last week's episode where Bakery and Dunk talked about Stukov and just supports in general. But this is a really good question from Wendy for Bakery and Udall. Both on a personal level and from a point of view of potentially adding comms, how do you become a better shot caller, or how do you practice being a shot caller? How do Bakery and Mike find ways to micromanage others while worrying about themselves? Udall, you can open.
I mean, I think like one of the biggest ways that I improve is just watching replays, like whether that's my own replay. So like whether my own replay or like watching other regions and just seeing kind of what they're doing. Like also we'll record our comms and I'll like go through and listen. Cause a lot of it's you'll go to the VOD and then you watch it. You're like, all right, well, like I remember making this call here, but it's like there's like this fine line between making the right shot call and then like articulating how to say it so that the team understands, right? Because you have like a second, right? And I need to tell them, all right, we want to like bait the boss so that the enemy team comes. But like I can't say that, like you have to like make it like very like concise. So I mean, a way that I improve shot calling is like watching the VODs, and I also record the comms and listen to it. I think adding comms in game would help, just like because you get to practice more like articulating and just like asking teammates, like because I'm pretty like talkative in Hero League, and I'd ask people like, did you understand what I was saying? And then, if they said no, then that's something I would try and work on. Yeah. Does that kind of make sense? I kind of lost my voice halfway through.
Although I haven't been playing a lot of Hero League recently, I found that when I did play Hero League, my success rate, my wins and everything went up exponentially as soon as I tried to start the conversation in the game. Right, I would type in the chat during the draft. I would just try to start the conversation, try to be super positive, try to start the conversation. And honestly, like even just having that and like, positive reinforcement after fights, even if you're feeling like this is an impossible game to win, it has made the difference in times. And like, it's just a factual thing. As cliche as it sounds, positivity makes a huge difference in these kind of games. And if no one else is going to take the helm, you might not think you have the best knowledge, or you might not think that you're the smartest person in that game, but bringing everyone on the same page, like Zoe was saying about earlier, you can have 5 clowns in one game, but 5 clowns on the same page are always going to do better than 5 clowns running around doing their own thing. And if you can try to, and don't order people around, you just got to make suggestions like, should we do this? Should we do this? And, furiously pinging isn't really constructive either. So like those small things really help everyone, I feel, in Hero League when it comes down to it. We have time for one more question, and there's a question.
I haven't answered yet.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
All right, so these two made a lot of good points, so definitely listen to them. And the one thing I will say, if you're really focused on how do I improve my decision making, how do I get better as a player, then the thing that I would do is I would download the replay of, like, let's see, okay, Fnatic or GFE or whatever, they're coming up, they're playing like a big game. So Tempo Team Freedom this weekend. Don't watch it. Just don't watch that HGC match. Download the replay after and focus on either the team as a whole and the rotating, or a specific player. That would be the shot caller, or indeed like the soaker, and just watch them. And every time they have to make a decision, pause, and what would you do in that situation? what do I do now? Like, oh, hey, tribute spawn bot lane. I'm stuck here top. Like, I win this lane. What do I do? Do I rotate down? Do I stay here and try and take wall? Like, and I think that's a great way of like learning the decision-making process of high-level players and high-level teams, but also of understanding the steps that you need to take to get there.
Yeah, that's very good advice. I used to do it all the time in StarCraft. I haven't done that as much in Heroes, but like StarCraft, you can actually restart the replay from a certain point, which is insane. As I kick things over.
That's really good.
There are a lot of questions about Stukov and Tyrande. We, again, talked about those two heavily last week, so please go back and watch last week's episode. Did you have one last question you wanted to do, Jake? I haven't seen one.
No. I think we've covered everything with that. And we are pretty much out of time anyway, so... You know, big shout out to Michael Udall joining us this week, and again, congrats on the success to GFE so far this season.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I wanted to come on the show for a while. It's my first time ever being on TownHall Heroes.
That's not true.
That
is it?
That's There's no way that's true.
Is it second? I thought it was first.
You've been there. I know before, at least before I retired, that you were on the.
We had you on.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I know I've at least been on a show with you before. It's been a long time though.
It's been
it's been like
I've been harassing him for like the last month.
Yeah, I know. I feel so bad. He's been harassing me, and I'm like, dude, like I'm not gonna take time off scrims. Like we have really important matches.
Well, I said, I understand you guys got scrims. Just let me know when you can come on, man. And every week, it's like, well, if we win both our matches this week, I'll come on. And then you lost one of them because you suck. So.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
26, 7 months ago, Michael Udall.
Oh, my bad. I'm insane. I lied.
So fast. Bakery is like, must detective mode this.
So fast. That's impressive.
It's almost creepy. All right, let's transition to shout outs. Starting with you, Michael.
Shout out to you guys for having me on. Thank you very much. Shout out to my team, our amazing sponsor, Gale Force. We got some new memorabilia. You should check it out at Meta Threads, our shirt sponsors, or this beautiful platform, Twitch, what we're watching on, also shout out to that sponsor. I cannot forget the amazing Gunners, check them out. Optic Wear, if you would like some, use code Udall for 10% off your purchase. Oh. And NVIDIA, all of our amazing sponsors. Shout out to our community fans, my fellow players. I don't know, life's good. I love all you guys, so thank you for that.
I love you too, Michael.
Yes.
More than you know.
Later, Jake, later.
Pizza cake to bake a pretty cake. Shout outs.
Wait, what did you say? Alright, anyway, so, okay, shout-outs to Team Dignitas, of course, and my team. Shout-outs to MetaThreads, along with Michael. You can go there, you can find all of our merchandise. You can use the code BREAD, which gives you a 5% discount on everything. So, you can buy a Michael Udall jersey.
Use the code BREAD.
But yeah, you can find us this week in HGC. We're going to be taking on Tricks. If we win 3-0, then we have a good chance to go to Western Clash. So we're going to be trying really hard, putting in all the stops this week, and hopefully we can finally pull it out and show up 3-4 in HGC. Thanks for coming on the show, Michael Udall. It was, I think there's some great discussion, and yeah, tune in next week.
Young Zoya.
I got no shout-outs, man. Just watch Bloodlust next week.
Watch Bloodlust tonight.
Yeah.
And next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess. Tonight would be cool too, but mainly next week. Watch next week. It'll be fun. Last event was fun. The, whatever the hell it's called, the Pepper Challenge is not fully funded yet. And people really like that.
For long.
Yeah, well, it'll get funded, but if you want to be part of the pioneer that pushes it that way, all of the donations go to prize pool, right, Jake? So,
well, you're not. Yeah, you have the choice of where you want to put it, right? So if you put money towards the Hot Pepper Challenge, that goes to the prize pool. But it says what each goal does. One of the goals directly supports basically the budget for the event, because it's not cheap to fly you nerds out here and feed you and do all of that. And,
yeah. Well, what my point was, they're not going into my greedy little pockets, right? So
right.
They're going to making the event possible. So
exactly.
Whether it's supporting the prize pool or helping making the production better, you don't have to worry about it going into my wallet and then I spend it on non-heroes related things, right? So support the event. It's great for heroes.
Yeah, we're at 75% for the hot pepper challenge, and then $400 just direct price for contributions. They're really the same thing. You know, they accomplish the same thing. It's just the hot pepper challenge means Zoya, Dunk, and myself will be eating habanero peppers and casting a match of Heroes of the Storm on day 2 of the event. So it'll probably be like the loser bracket quarterfinals or something, whatever the last day of day 2 is. I can't remember. And we're doing a tri-cast for the full event, so it's going to be a little bit weird. Me, Zoya, and Dunk will all be seated here. I'm going to drive production and cast while Zoya and Dunk will have their own PCs as well. I assume I'll make Zoya obs because he used to obs for a living. He'll hate me for that. That's good. Thanks. Good job, Zoya. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. And you know, we'll take turns and we'll hop on and off, and it's just gonna be a silly weekend, I feel. To give you guys an idea of what the schedule is gonna look like for next week, since this is arguably the biggest show that I'm putting on for the year. It's gonna be, we're gonna start on Friday. And HGC NA typically starts at 5 p.m. on Friday, so that's when the event's going to start. But Friday is just going to be round 1 of the winners bracket, so each team will just play a best of 3. So it's going to be fairly quick. It's each team is just we're going to have 4 best of 3s. We're going to schedule all the teams apart, so they know they only have to set like an hour and a half aside or 2 hours aside for that day. And then we'll have our matches. We still need to get together with all the managers to make sure the scheduling works for everyone, mind you. Before the actual bracket starts, we will have a Town Hall Heroes preview show, basically around 3 p.m. So it's going to be a live preview show around 3 p.m. East Coast. So it'll be earlier than normal. That's noon West Coast. Really good time for EU, just to kind of get the juices flowing. And we're going to call in Bakery. Hopefully his schedule's free for that. We'll see. HGC is going to be on, so if Bakery is not free, if Bakery can even pop in for 5 minutes, great. Then Saturday and Sunday, we've just got matches, you know, all day long. It's going to be a fun time. I'm planning some stupid stuff that we might do. We might have a barbecue cam. We might just have a grill outside and be able to watch Zoya grill hot dogs. I don't know. I'm gonna make it a fun weekend. There's just little stupid intermission things, if you know, between games, and
that's a good PSA to give. It's not HGC. We're not gonna be the most professional, try-hard event. It's meant to be fun. Yeah. We're gonna be trash-talking players. We're gonna be trash-talking each other. We're gonna be doing stupid shit like singing on stream. You know. Yeah. Don't go into it and be like instantly butthurt that like, oh, I spent money on this and this is the most unprofessional event ever. Well, dude, should have done your research, brother.
It's video games at the end of the day. We're going to be casting awesome matches. I feel like the players are going to be willing to play stupid comps. We're going to see teams that want to hide their comps, so they're going to play stupid comps, and it's going to create for really fun games. And that's exactly what Bloodlust is all about, just having a good time, maybe some savagery here and there. I want to get players on the mic.
Some savagery.
Yo, I want to get EU players in the mic. Like if Quacknix would be willing to hop in on the mic and cast with us via Skype. If Bakery be willing to hop in on the mic and cast with us via Skype. If Snitch be willing to do that, let me know, European HGC players.
Whoa,
if that's something you're interested in.
Not Snitch. I'm not doing
get the NA players. Like Mike Udall just beats Tempo, has to watch them play like the losers finals or something. Just trash talks them like the whole way.
That's
I'm always
the kind of stuff
you know me.
I want. Yeah. You know,
that's why I love you, Michael.
Bunch of shitters.
Bunch of shit. Well, but you know, again, thanks everyone for bearing with the rants we did tonight. I think we had some pretty epic rants. And Michael Udall, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to hear your voice here on
before we go, I actually have one more thing I forgot to say. So my water's been out. The mains pipe burst. You know, I've had no running water all day. But I've been saved by bottled water. In this case, from Smart Water. Smart Water, if you want to sponsor me, then you can reach me at bakeryheroes@gmail.com. And this could have been a fantastic shout out for your event. And you can get more like this every week.
Holy shit. I like it.
Sour Patch Kids.
Ballpark hot dogs. I ate 2 of you today. Sponsor me.
If Kubi was here, Kubi would literally have unplugged a lamp and held up a plug to the screen, and because that's how Kubi does. I like your attempts, Bakery. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 151. Next week, I don't know if we're having a show on Wednesday just because of Bloodlust on Friday. I will keep you guys up to date. No matter what, we're having a town hall next week. It's just a matter of if we're having 2. And we'll let you know very soon. Just 1 hour from right now, Niantic versus No Tomorrow, best of 5 series. We'll see you next week. We'll see you then, and we'll see you at Bloodlust. GG's.
Toodaloo.